Well, we're consistent. You've got to give us that. 4 or 5 weeks ago, Celtic won, Sparta Prague 4. Tonight, Sparta Prague 4, Celtic 1. If this was a knockout match, we would have lost it 8-2 on aggregate. I'm sure you can all do the maths. I'm Hamish Carton, by the way. David Walton, how are you, David?
Hi, well, it's doing a bit better about 2 hours ago. I thought we might have done something tonight, but once again, the Celtic team just lets you down, doesn't it?
It does indeed. It's hard when you do these videos after every single match, and personally, I do the solo videos on channel as well to try and not repeat yourself. I'm going to do my best not to do that on this video, and I'm going to ask you, fellow Celtic fans who are watching this video, if there's anything in particular you want me and David to talk about in this video, anything that has really irked you about tonight or the last 3 or 4 months, any specific players, moments, anything like that, let me know in the comments. I'll see it and we'll touch on it. In the absence of any of that, to start off, David, I'll just start by asking you, what the hell happened tonight?
I don't know. Same thing that happened a few weeks ago. I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I'm one of the ones that maybe can't believe what I saw tonight. I genuinely thought we might have found the action for somewhere. Don't ask me why. Just had a feeling going into the game. And when we get that first goal, I'm thinking, hold on a minute. We've seen a different team here. No, we didn't. We've seen the exact same one we've seen over the last 7, 8, 9 weeks, going back to that Rangers game in particular. It was abysmal. It was a shocking sort of collapse. They 1-0 up as well. You think they get the goal, they go on and seize control of the game. We never had control of that game for a minute of it. Anyone that maybe thinks it was a fluke what happened a few weeks ago, proven wrong tonight. Everything that could have went wrong did go wrong, but mainly you're looking across that back line again, absolutely shambolic, the lot of them.
Yeah, I think that's probably the key point to take away from that game, was that all 4 goals are probably avoidable. I'll try and go through them one by one. The first goal is absolutely awful defending, and the boy slams it into the net. Callum McGregor's deeper than every other player. I read somewhere that I think that's the 5th set piece goal we've conceded in 9 matches. That is just clearly not acceptable. Second goal, it was almost a spitting image of a happier memory for us Celtic fans. Scott Sinclair's goal at Ibrox, the way he slammed it in at the back post, that was a Sparta second goal. Terrible defending from, I think it was Julian and El Hamid as well, and Bain didn't cover himself in glory either. The third goal was the most typical thing ever, a break, and the minute the guy went through on the left hand side, you knew it was happening. The boy Julius slams it in, and by the way, I think he scored 5 goals against us in 2 games. Now, I don't know if that says a lot about our defence. It clearly does. But to be fair to that guy, he's a good finisher. And if we're looking for a striker when Eddie leaves, I'd take a look at him, because 5 goals in 2 games against us. I think only Edouard and Ayeti have scored more goals than that for us all season. So that kind of puts it in context of where he's at and what happened. The 4th goal is just an absolute calamity right at the end of the match. It's like 93 plus 30, long ball over the top. I mean, we slammed Man United's defending in their defeat to Bolly's team, but that was equally, if not as bad. Scott Bain comes out again, just like Craig Gordon would have, gets nowhere near it. The boy runs clear, takes it past McGregor and slams it in. Absolutely horrible end to a horrible night, and pretty much, well, it does obviously end our Europa League hopes. We're out of it. A year ago, David, 4 games in, we had 10 points. This year, we have 1. Now, you can say all you want about Neil Lennon this and, the regression in the team, but that is a clear example of how far this team has fallen in the last year.
Neil Lennon, if last season we had 1 point after this amount of games, and this season we had 10, Neil would be the first one to come out and point that stat out to you. He'll avoid it this year because it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous that we've gone through this group stage with 1 solitary point, and probably in the game you least expected it, of course. But I mean, to take tonight in isolation, it's incredible that this team can collapse so easily. Now, Prague's goals, I would say, were nothing more than efficiently taken. I don't think it was spectacular, any of the 4 of them. The second one, you're talking about the goal at Ibrox. Well, there was actually some nice build-up to that goal at Ibrox. We actually get in behind our defence and then cut it across the face of goal. That one was just a cross right across the deck that Ayer should have snapped out. I'd argue Bain should have done a bit better as well. And El Hamed's totally sleeping. I'm El Hamed's one of his biggest fans. I really like him as a player. Tonight, shocking. Absolutely shocking. Try to think of the goals again. The third one. It's just efficient. It's just what teams in Europe do, unless you're Celtic. We have a similar chance with Edward about 5-10 minutes beforehand, and he, falls on his backside and it's straight at the goalkeeper. The fourth one, it's as if they've just thought to themselves, we've not made enough of an arse of this. Let's concede another one, and it's incredibly immature football from the team. I can't believe. Just can't believe the lack of sort of bounce back ability. Remember that word? I can't believe the lack of that in the team at the minute. Every game, it's like a disaster. For me, there's only one way you sort of change that. I think you change the manager.
I can almost, when you're talking about the manager there, I can almost imagine what he's going to say post-match, and he's going to give it the whole, we have a big chance with Edward at 2-1 down, and then we're hit on the break for virtually all three. Obviously the last three goals are all counter-attacks from Sparta Prague that they score from, and that's a comment that he makes so often, and he makes it so often because basically every single game in Europe, when we lose, it happens due to this. Cluj last season in the Champions League, I think 2 or 3 of their goals that night were counter-attacks. Copenhagen, 2 or 3 were counter-attacks. This season, Ferencváros' second goal was a counter-attack. AC Milan scored 2 counter-attacks. Sparta Prague scored, I think, the last time we played them in Glasgow, I think 2 or 3 of their goals were counter-attacks. Today again, 3 of the goals are counter-attacks. Like, it's all well and good saying, it was unjust and all that, but counter-attacks are part of football, and when you defend like this Celtic team are, we have absolutely no right to complain about anything. Give me 2 secs, David, I'm going to bring you in, but we've got a comment here from, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name, I'm just making sure there's no swear words in there. Should the remaining Europa League games be used to give the starters a rest and a chance to the fringe players? I suppose that's one positive of tonight, is that Europa League is a complete write-off now.
Yeah, we're out. Nothing more we can do in it. I don't think wins in any of these last 2 games, my God, no chance we'll win either of them, but if we did manage to pull a win off, I don't think it relieves much pressure anymore. We're out of the competition. I see that. I see why we would do that. I see why we would play some more of the fringe players, and I'm actually all for it. I kind of doubt Lennon's going to do that, though, if he's still the manager, because I think he's in such a perilous position that every point in every competition's a prisoner just now. He might look at the AC Milan, the Lille games, and think, God, see if I can get a result in one of them. That'll sort of ease the pressure on me. I don't think it will, personally, but I think Neil will try and look at these games and, again, try and build momentum from somewhere. Personally, I would do that. I think some players that maybe deserve to be dropped again. I
think we lost David there. You back, David?
Sorry for that, aye.
Fire on it.
No, regardless of who Neil puts in, I think it's just going to be the same. I don't think we'll win either of these 2 games. So I'm all for it, personally, but I don't think Neil will do it.
Yeah. I'm getting more slagging for my hair again, David. It's a hard old job, this, being a YouTube star. It's another David, but we'll leave that there. Just, he says, Celtic, like your hair, Hamish, shocking. That's harsh. I mean, this hair will sort itself out. I'm not sure that Celtic defence is going to sort itself out. Charles Sweeney asking us about Lennon's replacement. I think we'll come on to that maybe at the end of the video. If Charles can maybe remind me again in the chat, or if I forget, David, if you can let me know as well. There was another comment I saw that was quite good, a bit of slagging for John Kennedy. Everyone's getting it at the moment. Where do we go from here, David? Because we play Ross County Sunday, 2:00. The Europa League's obviously, as you just said, a complete write-off now. We've got domestic games now leading up to the new year at Ibrox that are very winnable. But even if we win those domestic games, has anything changed? Has this now gone beyond the point of no return or the point of repair for Neil Lennon?
It was like that a while ago, mate. It was like that a while ago. That's a question I've heard so much over this last couple of months. Where do we go from here? What's the next step? Until they get rid of the manager, the next step's the next game. There's no sort of bigger picture to look at than that. It's the next game we go to, which is Ross County at the weekend. Not a particularly sexy fixture, is it? But I mean, Neil needs to win absolutely every game he comes up against if he's still the manager. So we go into that one, expect him to try and play his strongest team again, because like I say, he needs results in every single game of football he encounters. So again, I would make some changes. Don't even know what they are yet. Don't ask me who should be dropped. I would drop 11 of them if I could. So we'll see what he does on Sunday, but nobody's looking forward to it, mate, and that's probably the worst thing you can say about things just now.
Yes, Luka McAvoy literally in goals were worse off than last season. In defence, shocking compared to last season. Midfield, same, and up front, have a guess. Oh yeah, same again. How are we so bad compared to last season? It's totally remarkable, David, because you can make all the comments you want about Neil Lennon taking this team backwards, but Neil Lennon was in charge last season when we got 6 points from Lazio and 4 from 6 against Rennes, and we had a really strong record in the league, and we won 2 more trophies and got to the semi-final of another one prior to COVID. But this has just gone badly wrong for me. I don't know what the problem is. I suppose at some stage people will have that conversation about where it did go wrong for Neil Lennon, but I struggle to see it going right. The Scottish Cammy wants us to touch on a distinct issue. He's asking Scott Bain or Vasilis Barkas. Now, for me, this is a really key issue. I think we've conceded 21 goals in those last 9 games, something like that. Now, I know Scott Bain wasn't in goals for all of them, but if you're telling me whether Scott Bain has done enough to keep the Celtic #1 jersey, absolutely not. He did more wrong in 90 minutes tonight than Barkas has done so far in his time at Celtic. And I don't think Barkas has by any means covered himself in any sort of glory so far. I think he was culpable in the game against Rangers and a few other moments in other games. But he has to go back into that team now. You can't keep Scott Bain in nets after conceding 3 against Aberdeen, 8 against Sparta Prague in 2 games, 2 against Hibs. You have to change it up now and get Barkas back in there.
Say that for a long time. He's your investment, Barkas. It's the goalkeeper you signed in the summer for this season. I thought some of his performances were questionable. At the start of the season, I wasn't too impressed by him. I understood the idea of taking him out for a short period. That made sense to me, but not permanently, because we know Scott Bain isn't good enough to be Celtic's #1 goalkeeper. He's proven that he's not good enough over the last month or so. So I don't know why we continue to persist with Bain. By the way, plenty of those goals are hardly his fault alone, but he is not saving a thing. So for me, now's the time. Bring Vasilis back and see what he's all about again. I don't think we have any other option, Hamish. You can't stick with Bain. You can't stick with him as your #1. He's just not Celtic goalkeeper quality. Barkas hasn't shown that he is yet either, but he's your investment. You stick by him out of the 2 of them for me, because you don't have another option.
That's it in a nutshell though, because a year ago Scott Bain was getting pilloried for, I remember a terrible goal he lost at Fir Park, and I remember the Cluj debacle as well, and Neil Lennon even went and signed Fraser Forster because he didn't think that Scott Bain was good enough. So that is it in a nutshell. A year down the line, Scott Bain is now the goalkeeper that's starting these matches. That is the regression in a nutshell that we've seen in the entire team. We've got a question in, Sean Patrick. Hamish, the biggest problem that's never chatted about, sorry about that, is the midfield. It's too lightweight. We miss a Kayal or a Wanyama. I mean, is Ryan Christie the best we have in the team regards to delivery? Well, if Ryan Christie has the best delivery in the team, what the hell does that say about the rest of the team? But take on that first point, David, about the midfield, Kayal and Wanyama.
He's spot on, actually. The midfield is so overlooked because either we're not scoring enough goals or we're letting too many in. Earlier on in the video, I spoke about how we didn't have control of the game for a single minute of it. That starts with your midfield. And McGregor and Brown don't work, haven't worked for a long time, but Neil continues to play the pair of them every single week. Thought McGregor was shocking tonight, by the way. Thought everything he did was poor. Thought he gave the ball away so carelessly. And some of the basics that, regardless of Brown's performance, McGregor should be doing well, didn't manage them either. So I think it's a great point. Look at our midfield options. We should have more than enough for the challenges we come up against over the course of a season. I would argue that Lennon just doesn't give some of these players a chance. I'm talking about David Turnbull. I'm talking about Ismaila Soro. these players deserve opportunities, and if they're not getting opportunities, where's the motivation for the players in the team to really kick on and perform at a high level on a weekly basis? They know the players behind them aren't going to overtake them in the team. So I'm totally agree. I think the midfield's a big problem. I think every department of the pitch is a problem. I think the dugout's a problem. But he's right. The midfield doesn't get spoken enough about. Outside of Scott Brown, we all know Brown's been poor all season, but McGregor needs called out. Olivier Cham needs called out. Another one that was abysmal tonight. So it's a great point. It's a great point. I wouldn't say we've recruited badly in the midfield because we don't really know, but we would like to find out. We would like to see him give some of these boys a chance, and we'll see if he does. I'm not banking on it.
Neither am I. You saw, I talk about this so often, but you saw last season, and see, when you think about last season, one of the first players that comes to your mind is Jeremy Frimpong, because you think new, vibrant, and he brought something new to the team. David Turnbull could do that for this midfield. Now, I know David Turnbull is unavailable at the moment because of the COVID fiasco with the 21s, but when he is fit, he's got to be back in that team, because quite simply, he can't be any worse than that midfield is at the moment. It is an absolute... I need to watch what I'm saying, but it's been a joke this season, that midfield. And you're right, Callum McGregor's best 2 games over the last 6 months have been for Scotland, and for me that says it all. It's because he's playing next, and I know we don't praise Rangers, but he's playing next to Ryan Jack, who is at the moment is a far better player than Scott Brown the way he's playing. And Scott Brown, when McGregor's playing next to Scott Brown, he's doing different people's jobs, and he's not doing them well enough, Callum McGregor. What's the point in signing Sorrow if he's not going to play him? What's the point in signing Turnbull if he's not going to play him?
What's the point? Exactly. I mean, you see that with just about every Celtic signing now, especially the ones that we sign that are young and barely get in. So much talent's been wasted at Celtic Park, not just under Neil Lennon, over the course of the last 10, 15 years in particular. Just go on. I mean, we're not the manager. We can't explain why these boys aren't getting a game, but it should be because the starting 11 and Lennon's favourites are not performing.
Yeah. Jacqueline Pollock, Kai Jacqueline, 3-1 down, 80 minutes gone, and he brings on a striker that's not started in weeks, who he doesn't believe in to change the play. I thought that was another weird part of it tonight, just a small weird part, the fact that Klimala came on to the game and Edward came off as well. It just seems as if everything has gone wrong over the last wee while. Right, we'll get back to the topic that Charles, I think it was asking us earlier on, and I've done a full video on this, by the way, so we won't go too in depth, but people have heard my views, so I'll shut up. David, what happens with Neil Lennon now? And if we're looking at a replacement, are you of the school of thought that there are people out there that can improve this team? Or do you think that, we'd be taking a massive risk by bringing in someone new at this stage?
The biggest risk is keeping Lennon on. I mean, my goodness, how could you say otherwise with some of these performances? It's funny because it's difficult to sort of think that they are going to sack him, because when you listen to Lennon's comments, the relationship he has with the board is pretty ridiculous. They're too pally. It's as if it's not a work relationship, It's like too many mates there. And for me, talk about, will a new manager be able to change the team? Will he be able to get the best out of these players? I don't think that there's bad players at Celtic. In fact, I still think we've got the best squad. I think we've got a totally inept manager. And for me, I think you have to make the change. You have to bring some freshness in. The downside to that, or the potential negative for the board, is a manager could look at that squad and think, I'm going Peter, and you know what it's going to be like for that. Oh, good God, no. So you have to change the manager for me. You have to put everything into this season because it means everything to the club. So that's what I would do, 100%. I would have had Lennon out before tonight, mate. I would have had him out a few weeks ago. But, we've not yet got to the stage where it's too late. There's still time for the board and Lennon to do the right thing. Who you bring in is a different question. I hate this argument of, well, who do you bring in? Oh, my goodness. Is Neil Lennon really the best manager out there that can be managing Celtic just now? I don't buy it for a second. So we'll see what the board do. But I just don't think they'll do anything, mate. I just don't think. I've been hoping for it for a wee while since these performances have been extremely poor over the last month or two. And I just don't back the board to make the decision that's right. I think they'll make the decision that they think is financially right for themselves.
Right, I think that'll do us for today, David. Thanks very much. We've discovered a few things tonight. We didn't discover that Celtic are really bad at football right now, but we certainly learned a bit more about the team. I've also discovered in terms of this stream, the perfect way to weed out the other lot. Just record a stream when they're playing, because it's been really good today. We've had, fair enough, we're talking about difficult topics at the moment that no one wants to be talking about. We've had a real load of Celtic fans, a lot of new names on the channel as well. So just want to say, it's tough at the moment, everyone, but I really, really appreciate, and we all do, we really appreciate all the support we're getting on the channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, if you're just managed to come across this video tonight, please give us a wee subscribe. We post videos every single day. We've got Jackie McNamara as a regular contributor to the site. We'll also be meeting a new member of 67 Hail Hail on tomorrow or Saturday. And big news, I've got an Olympian on the channel at the weekend, David. More news on that as well at the weekend. But if you don't want to miss out on all of that, subscribe to the channel. But a big thanks for finding us. I hate using the phrase keep the faith, but I kind of feel like it's all we have to do at the moment, whether that be with Neil Lennon or without Neil Lennon. It's going to get better. This feels like a rock bottom. We're all Celtic fans. Thanks, David.
Aye, thanks for having me on, mate. Hopefully the circumstances get a bit better in the near future, but that'll be down to the board, won't it?
Great stuff. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care and hail, hail.